SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeep.
A Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown.
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
Our host, Neil Simpson.
If one light goes out, they all go out.
Filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast, episode number 38. And I am your host, Neil, with SFJ4x4.com, and my lovely, scrumptious...
Oh, boy. Are you done? Or I don't know.
Articulate.
Mad scientist Scott Brown.
Brilliant.
Fiberglass hater this morning.
Oof.
Don't put a fiberglass tub on your Jeep.
You know what? That
Just
moment
don't do it.
passed. That moment passed in the 80s and the 90s. I understand why.
It's come full circle.
Tasty. Chuck's
Now
tasty.
people are doing retro modifications and
No.
looking for vintage
Fiberglass.
fiberglass.
I think they're just trying
Honest
to live
to
out
God.
that moment where Tom Kennedy was still popping out, fiberglass
It's
tubs.
literally
and
one
Tom
of the tubs
Troll.
they look for.
Yes, because it's authentic. And then there
Yes.
was a group out of New Jersey making fiberglass tubs as well,
Mhm.
competitively at that time. And I understand their tubs are equally
Sought after.
sought after to a degree.
Good morning, honey.
Yes. Good morning to Amy. So this is episode number 38. Scott has recently, as we do as a business, sometimes when confronted with an immediate and perceived insurmountable obstacle, we kind of just step back for a second. Keep our cool. Step back. Think about
bring
it.
our own parts in.
Raid our horde, right? And then
Figure it out.
consult our peers
Yes.
of highly skilled professionals, and then reattack it, when you're feeling fresh. And so that's exactly what you did, and you found such a simple
Yes.
issue, but obviously, given any other situation, any other business involved, they would have just been throwing parts at it, and
100%. It's very challenging when you have multiple issues for the same problem, and you find the problem, you think, and you fix that first one, and you go, got it. Nope. There's multiple things going on, and that's really challenging,
that's all too often, man. That
especially
is-
with 40-year-old vehicles.
Oh, 40-year-old. I mean, so talk about 20-year-old. I mean, we're dealing with this, TJs and YJs. Heck, we've got a JKU. I mean, just a 13 JKU. It's got no power for no apparent reason.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. And God love it. We are those guys. So, and obviously, if you're not aware, folks, I spent the weekend at Toledo Jeep Festival 2022. Just huge shout out to the event organizers there. A spectacular time was had by all. I'm going to try and not spend the entire program today talking about that experience. I'm going to try and focus it. Maybe we'll roll out a couple different pieces. I am exhausted.
Very excited.
I am exhausted, but I am super jazzed up. Like we had a great experience. And what I understand from a number of people, specifically on the industry side of things, they too had a very good experience. So this was the 4th TJF, and what everyone is saying is the best one yet. So
We have a picture from our booth out there, and that's about it.
Oh, yep. Oh, that was from setup day.
That was just when you got done lifting the Jeep up to sit it on there, right? By hand.
Yeah, by hand. That was just a straight deadlift workout that day. So that was moving day. Don't take that down just yet. That was moving day, and I'm going to call attention to a couple things. One, God, that Jeep is beautiful,
Yes.
first of all. Second of all, that's how all LJs should look. Second of all, a huge shout out to Jeffrey the Italian Stallion. Parking on that crate. Yeah. You know what? It's one of those things I think people underestimate, and yet, like when you see it, you're like, man, that looks really cool. You know, you hear that, and and then the other thing is like that crate's gonna fall apart. It's gonna collapse.
Yeah,
and
it's well hidden.
It's well hidden. It looks authentic, and obviously we have the ramps down at this point in time. People, there's a little bit of mystique there because there's no ramps, so we just have it all situated
as it should be.
Yes, and so behind this gentleman in the hat was the RC crawler course and kind of like the big family section. And our friends at 7-Slot Society, 7-Slot Collectible, excuse me, is behind that red Grand Cherokee that you can kind of just catch a glimpse of the nose piece there. Their booth was set up there. So it was a great location. Huge shout out to the event organizers because they kind of give us freedom, It is important to note that is the Seagate Convention Center or Glass City Convention Center. I'm not sure what name they're going by. And that is primarily, kind of an invite-only space of unique, Jeeps in, kind of in the area. So we were happy to make a trip out and show off a very cool Jeep. And if you haven't followed along that yellow one, those are JK axles, specifically the Ultimate Dana Spicer 44 in the front end. And so that is those are axles that don't belong under that Jeep that are under that Jeep working perfectly, both with lockers and all that kind of good stuff, or traction devices in the locker in the front. Additionally, big shout out to the Savage, who managed to take the little windshield off the red Jeep. He was wrenching. He was spinning tools the weekend. He got that put in there. Lastly, right where I'm standing, kind of hugging that tire, is a T-shirt that I had displayed that showed the map of our location, which was promptly stolen by 10 a.m.
Of course, it was.
The first day of the show.
But the little Jeep made it through.
The little Jeep made it through.
That's good.
We gave out stickers. So it was very cool. People
wherever
really
that shirt is, I hope it is worn.
That's right. I hope you either needed the shirt, or B, go out and proudly represent, and show off the brand. I hope that you've actually heard of us and follow us, and that this was your moment to get some free merch. So, and then in just the final kick to the Cooliones, Davey went to start this to pull it down off the ramps. Davey and our buddy Zach, and that Jeep was dead as a doornail yesterday afternoon.
Was the key left in the on position?
It was not. Also, the battery was supposed to be disconnected for the weekend, the duration of the event, so the battery was fine.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. And we end up going and we park in the next town over. So it's legitimately about 15 to 18 miles away where we park.
Which
to where
normally should not be a big deal.
Which should not normally be a big deal. But if you're unfamiliar, we're driving, kind of a big rig. And so we park it out of town. I can just lock the keys in it. We drive the Jeeps in, leave them off at the convention center. I valeted Jeeps this weekend. It's such an interesting experience. These guys are like pulling BMWs in, and then they get like the JLs on and the LJ on 37s and beadlocks, valeted. And Jerry Huber says, great weekend, guys. Glad you guys made the trek to Toledo. Enjoy the event. Jerry, I thank you so much for the invite and the opportunity to be there. I'm going to continue to just drone on about your event for the next, 3 hours at minimum and probably next couple days. So we appreciate being, an important part of it. So, yeah, it died on me, and I was headed out of town to get the rig, and driving Jen's Jeep, and Davey sends me a message, and he's like, "Hey, what did you do to the battery? What did you do to this Jeep?" And I was like, "I don't know, nothing." And he's like, "It doesn't start." He's like, "Zach tried starting it, I'm trying to start it. It's not. Nobody's home." And so then I saw red. Like my head wanted to explode because, of course, it was too close to the fact that the wagon wasn't there.
Yeah,
which I haven't even talked about yet. But I was like, I have these really, really cool vehicles, and we show them love.
Yes,
and they push back.
Yes, they want more.
Long story short, after so then I got the rig back. I got back. I went to pull into the convention center with it. I apparently took out our friend Zach. I am equally disappointed because I feel strongly that I could see the fence line, but there was a
This is why I stay at the shop, people.
There was a rubber, like a big heavyweight rubber foot that the fence pops down into, and I could see the fence out of my side view mirror as I pull the corner into this narrow alley up into the convention center, and unfortunately my tire caught that rubber foot that Zach was holding on to, and unfortunately it acted kind of like a little bit of a lever, and brought the fence in. May or may not have sent him on a ride and caught his arm, and
oh my,
yeah. I mean, it's not the.
Don't worry, SFJ will be back next year.
Well, you know what? And here's the thing, and I'm not gonna disclose who, what, when, where, or why, but I will tell you that somebody actually broke the convention center overhead door. Not us. It just wasn't all the way up or down, and so that is unfortunate. It goes with the territory. These things do happen when these big trucks and trailers are going in and out of a tight space. You got to think, we're going in and out of alleyways with 50, 60 foot long rigs or bigger.
Yeah.
You had the General Tire semi truck. That's a true 53 foot box and a semi. You're pushing 70 something feet long, and you got to maneuver in and out around stuff. So,
yep.
Very, very challenging end. But then, you know what it was? Starter. And you know how I fixed it?
Hammer.
Old school. Just. I think,
Chuck Norris did that to me before it was Chuck Norris.
I know. And the thing is, like,
you get started, you don't shut it off.
And that's, exactly. So I don't know. We obviously brought it in. I had to then unload Jen's Jeep off the trailer to load the yellow Jeep up on the top to then load Jen's Jeep back on.
Yeah, you need to practice, right?
Oh, yeah. The trail jack of doom struck again. I did not hit Thor's hammer off of Chuck Norris, taking down bridges and convention center doors. I promise it wasn't me, but I can commiserate. I can understand what they encountered, because I obviously have taken out a bridge in Pennsylvania.
Maybe prove it.
Allegedly.
It's more like a nick.
It was a
flesh wound.
It was merely a flesh wound. Merely a flesh wound. So, anywho, I'm going to continue to drone about TJF here in a short minute. But I saw you did some very exciting things.
Yes.
With the 36. So I since we don't, so we're kind of at a point in our life where we're a little too busy to call each other and just gossip.
Right.
In the
we
evenings.
live through each other's Facebooks.
We're just living vicariously through each other's Facebook. So. Yeah. This is my moment to hear what you did to your engine.
So firstly, Saturday after I got done here, the kids were staying the night at Grandma's, so we decided to jump in my C10 that doesn't get used much because it has 3 seats, and I have 4 people in my family. So
yes,
went down on a date up by Mentor and enjoyed that. The truck was flawless the whole time, so that was good.
It is also an LS swap, just so we're all on the same page.
Yep. Other than I forgot my wallet, I pulled a Neil.
That's perfectly okay.
So we had to deal. We realized we had our my son's little change purse or whatever you want to call it, and Amy's purse. So we're like, well, we got Aiden's got $5 he can donate to the cause for dinner, and. Finally found Amy's card in the depths of her purse, so that was good. And so then Sunday morning...
Aiden's paying for dinner. Love it.
So Sunday morning, she had to open, so she goes off, and I don't have any kids, and she sends me a message, and she's like, did you get lots of sleep? And I replied with semi, because my colorful mid-70s neighbor has a semi. I think it's a Peterbilt. And he likes to idle it a lot.
Like 6 a.m. in the morning.
At 6 a.m. on a Sunday. So that was fun.
I don't understand why he does that, but then he pulls out at like 6:30, doesn't he?
Well, I heard it shut off, and I was just grateful. But at that point, it was after 9. I was like, whatever. I'm just gonna start my day now. And I guess he went on a trip with it somewhere because he came back much later that day. But anyway, he's just got to prepare for lots of flathead idling coming up.
That's right. That's right.
So then I decided, well, I'm going to go out in the garage. And I was working on the pasture side. I had gotten that head studs in and that head on just finger tight. So I went ahead and then chased a lot of threads, all the threads, because there's, it's a 24 stud motor. So there's 24 studs on each side of the engine. And chased a bunch of holes and got them cleaned out, and then was able to seal the studs and put them in, and then put the head gasket on, and then finally put the head on, and verified top dead center on the motor via old people on forums in my books.
You were hanging out in forums.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
It was really funny because someone was asking
there
why
was
their
3 of you on the forum.
why their car didn't start. It was an old thread because I learned you search things. You don't just post again.
Right.
And this old man was benefit of me insisted on telling this guy how to do TDC on his motor, and they're like, oh, I just took the distributor out and want to put it back on. I don't actually need to know how to put my motor on top dead center. Because on I-style flathead, it actually doesn't matter. Just put the distributor back on the right way, and you're good. It can
Really?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
It isn't like it doesn't have a gear where it just indexes into the cam. It has a slot that goes on the end of the cam. So, and it's offset, so you literally can't put it on wrong.
Really?
As long as you bolt, and it doesn't have adjustment or any of that sort of stuff. It on the bolts, it's in the side of the distributor. So as long as you just bolt it on right, you're good.
You really don't even need top dead center. You don't need TDC at that point. So how do you advance and retard your timing?
So there's a little bolt on the side. You loosen that up, and there's graduated slots.
I'm sorry, a what?
Whatever.
Okay, no, go ahead. I'm sorry. I can't.
And that indexes the inside of the distributor in the case for
really?
advance and retard. So as long as that's set to what you had it and you didn't loosen that bolt, you bolt it back on, you're good to go. Because little known fact, unless you're 85, you took the distributor off this car and you went over to your machine in the corner of your shop in the 50s.
Yes.
And you put it on there and you set your dwell and your point gap and all that stuff on the machine. And then you just walk back over to the car and bolted it on, and off to the races you go. So
the amazing thing that car manufacturers expected the general population to do in the 40s to 60s, like adjusting your own valves as part of routine maintenance, and I can't help, because when you're in Toledo, you are in the womb of the auto manufacturer industry. These people live and breathe with the OE manufacturers. And they're bright. And they're decorated individuals. And these are the people who really understand much of, hey, this is just a machine that has to have some human input, right? And then somehow we put that vehicle on a semi-truck or a rail truck, and we truck it like just 45 minutes away. And then all of a sudden, the average consumer gets it, and they're like, it should just work perfectly all the time.
There is so many parts to a car.
I was on the JL forums this morning, if you couldn't tell, folks.
Oh, boy.
I was on the JL forums and
reading about the different axles.
Oh, my God. Different axles. I was reading about, right now, what is the bane of my existence, and actually has a little bit to do with Chuck, who I hope is still watching, has to do with these leaky water pump bolts.
Yeah. I just was reading up on that last week.
It's driving me nuts. Morning, Keith. He's in from Roanoke, Virginia. Love it. And unfortunately, there seems to be enough of these 2.0 guys on the road right now, and these water bolts these water pump bolts are starting to back out, and what's ultimately happening is Jeeps that's not getting addressed, And then continued frustrations that dealerships are claiming non-warrantable services, which just drives me nuts.
Yeah.
Because that's your problem. If you're a dealership, that's your problem. You need to figure that out for your customer you sold a Jeep to. A. B. These folks then are addressing it themselves, taking the bolt out, throwing a little bit of Loctite on it, shoving it back in, torquing to appropriate spec. And then 2, 3, 4,000 miles later, they're having a auxiliary issue with their Jeep. And I don't know if it's water pump related or not, but the dealership, again, according to a couple different threads, are going, nope, you touched your Jeep, you did something to it. We're blacklisting you from warranty repairs.
It's so frustrating when they use that as an out.
And they use that, and you know what that is? That is a decent human being who was like, hey, I saw a little simple problem. Hey, I saw that I needed to adjust my valves 60 years ago.
Yeah.
And I took a bolt out, I thread locked it, and I put it back in. And then the dealership goes, oh, this is a litigious issue.
Yeah.
You voided your warranty.
Yeah.
And I just feel bad for that person.
Yeah. And sadly, it's not just Jeeps either. It's all manufacturers are doing this.
Totally.
It's all over the Outback group, same way.
And then the problem is you get to Toledo and you talk to some of these folks who were
passionate,
and they're designing the vehicle and they are just good auto enthusiasts.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, man, let's just do this and we'll tweak this and we'll change that and we'll add this and it's good to go. And it's like, where is that disconnect? Like, how do we get from these guys who are originating this platform for us, then it flows through higher administration, legal, and then hits back at the dealership to consumer.
It's all about the liabilities and where it lands.
I was say, can we just blame lawyers? Just say lawyers.
Well, we can't because we have really good lawyers who are our customer. So
some lawyers.
There's bad apples in every industry.
Oh,
yes,
every single industry, without question. So, was there anything further on your top dead center, setting your dwell, which you didn't do yet? So what machine? I want to know what machine is in the corner.
Would have been
was it a distributor, like
distributor
a dwell machine or something?
Yeah.
I kind of remember.
And I chose to go with electronic distributor, so I don't have to do that. So I don't have to.
Can we get our hands on a dwell machine?
Well, I do have a dwell meter.
Do you have a dwell meter?
But I don't have the machine that
drives. There was a tool that actually had a little electric motor on it,
So the problem is that you have to find these machines, which are honestly about half the size of your car. And then
are they that big?
Oh, they're huge.
Oh, I didn't think
they're very tall and very wide and very deep. And then you have to restore the machine.
Yes.
And use the machine on your car that you're restoring. So it's much of a challenge.
Are crazy. Flathead guys are crazy.
There's a little cheater thing. It's this big on a piece of wood, and it's what you could sit the distributor on, and it would position everything in the right spot so you could check your point gap. That goes for anywhere from $250 to $800 on a regular, and they sell like that because there's only so many of them left.
Huh.
This is why I paid too much money and bought an electric distributor, because now I don't need that $500 tool to go with my $500 distributor.
Yes.
Yeah.
OMG.
But Bob has one. Of course he does.
Of course he does. God, what a gem. What a gem. Thank God he's ours.
Yeah,
right? It's just God works in mysterious ways, right?
Yeah.
The fact that, this guy's right near us and has been an important part of our business for years.
And knows how to do stuff.
All right. So, folks, we're going to circle back around to our episode, and I'm going to continue to banter on about TJF. Trying to give Scott some opportunity to talk as well, because I'm obviously real jacked up and excited about the event. We may or may not actually get to talking about mud terrain versus all-terrain tires. I actually had an opportunity to talk to the head of Mickey Thompson's tech support over the weekend. She is lovely. I thought that was, honestly, I'm going to just call a spade, really cool. Girl, she's smart and she's tough. And she knows about her tires.
That's awesome.
And so, so we were talking about, carcass development, and I'll be the first person to admit that right now, the Mickey Thompson 40-inch tire is among one of my favorite spinning tires. And I took a moment to tell her that. And of course, we are a business who touches a lot of different brands.
A lot of tires.
And a lot of tires. And I said, I got to be honest with you, for a period of time there, Dick Cepek and Mickey Thompson, I avoided because we just couldn't get balance. She said, I get it. Like, you're not alone. There's a lot of shops.
There
were
not just their brand either.
And she said, honestly, a lot of shops continue to carry those tires because of other ancillary reasons. She goes, but I understand our lead developer, this particular carcass that they are pushing on their tires currently, certainly their radial road tires, took years of development. And she contends that this is a first to market carcass development, and that this particular tire is going to be.
So when you put it in the balance machine, you're just going to hear, oh.
Well, I don't know about that. It's still a 40.
Doves will fly.
And she said they have obviously their 43s, but they are looking to have a 42 in the same well-spinning carcass here in the very near future.
That's awesome.
And I'm signed up for that personally. I didn't actually, but I'm saying, I'm here.
You're here for it.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk a little bit about TJF, with maybe address MTs and ATs. Product spotlight is going to be #not sponsored. Paracord, brought to you by your childhood survival stuff. Jeffrey, is this?
That's from mine.
Is this from your Jeep?
Yes.
Here's the thing, folks. I was before I get into my shenanigans from Thursday, Friday, I had to borrow Jeffrey's Gladiator too many times on Thursday, and he has it. One of the things I love, it actually kept me sane with all the rigmarole that we had going on in an attempt to load the rig with the Jeeps to go to the show. I got some good wind therapy. Jeffrey had his Jeep completely stripped down, so Gladiator, no doors, no top, just absolutely pleasant. And he had his Paracord grab handles in there, and I got to tell you, I've been privy to some of these Paracord grab handles, and they're junk. And the Jeffreys were fantastic.
I made those.
Of course you did.
With this paracord that is
mic
on the
drop,
table.
mic drop on the Italian Stallion, and he said he made that with this made in the USA Paracord. That is super cool. So we'll talk a little bit about that here in the near future. But man, you did a really nice job.
Thanks.
I meant to say something to you last week and didn't have the opportunity. But there's that. And then in future episodes that we're going to be talking about, we're going to be talking obviously whether we hit MT, AT. That's a really subject I love talking about. So we'll see where that comes in. We're going to be talking about communications with CB, Citizen Band Radio, versus the new GMRS. Duck Duck, the official founder of Duck Duck Jeep, Alice in Parliament. I actually had an opportunity to spend some time with her this weekend and talk about the founding of that event and hear her origination story.
She's such a great person.
She is. She was super cool. And she is going to be on the show. We're anticipating her coming on set with us and talking about that and sharing with her community and then what her intention was. It's so crazy to hear that she is actually unfortunately getting hate mail for ducking.
Shame.
For shame, Jeep community. I can understand if you don't like something. But come on, guys, we got to do better.
Be happy.
We got to do better, right? I mean, whether you like mud tires or AT tires or you like light bars, or you don't like light bars, or you like angry girls or you don't like angry girls, like, let it be. We got to do better. Just handing out ducks and making people smile.
Get a duck don't mean you should hate.
Right? I think that's what the problem is that person just really at their core wants that duck.
Yes.
They feel insecure in receiving the gift of ducking.
Yes.
They're ducking mad. So she'll be on the program with us. We're also going to be talking about insurance, which actually we plan to make entertaining for you. So, that one should actually be really interesting. And how did you get into Jeeping, like your origination story, and Q&A day. So this is one that I, thought of for years, was Stump the Chump between you and I, and people can ask us questions, whether they be technical, fun, interesting, engaging, or just plain invasive. I'm here for it. So we can do that here in the near future. And I feel like I'm missing something. Nah, it's all right. I'll think about it. I'll circle back.
Oh, the
around.
communications episode.
No,
You
I
talked
said
about
that.
that.
I said I'm excited about all of those subjects. Those are good. We're gonna have some really juicy stuff to be sharing with you. All right, so Toledo Jeep Festival. I've got all these goodies here in front of me, and I am going to talk a little bit about a lot of things. And so understand that I am grazing over them. You know what I was going to do? I was going to outline our schedule real quick. In 2 weeks, Smoky Mountain Jeep Invasion. I don't know that we'll be there, but you probably should be. Then early September, there is supposed to be an event happening here right in northeastern Ohio. We're working to try to pin down those details. Then October 4th, this is We Want You to Be a Bantam card, but I don't know where it's.
Bantam 2.0.
Bantam 2.0. There it is. Trail Fest. Here's their nice little paperwork. They were at TJF advertising. They had a nice table on display up by the convention center. October 7th to the 9th. And this will be at the Bantam property in Portersville, Pennsylvania, so just outside of Cooper's Lake Campground. They have about a 300-acre parcel, and you'll be able to access the trail system under guided and prescribed trails. So that's very cool. And then SEMA at the very end of October, 1st of November. So a lot of activities to kind of pay attention to happening in the market. I 100% remember what I was going to tell about Allison, and this is just a great. This is a great thing about how Duck Duck Jeep has grown. We're walking with her to the parking lot, okay? And we're about 2 blocks from the downtown event. She got in late, so she wasn't able to park in the event. She was also at the BF Goodrich booth herself, and she does not have BF Goodrich tires at the moment. So that was not something that they could easily push her into the show for, and. But BF Goodrich, she'd love a set of tires. So anyways, as we're walking, I kid you not, we're at an intersection, and there's this nice JL, a woman and maybe her son sitting in the JL, and it goes to pull through, and it has ducks in the front windshield. It has a appropriate assortment of ducks, and Allison, super appropriate, goes, "Hey, I like your ducks." And this woman's like, "Thank you." Oh my God, is that Allison? I kid you not. 100%. And I'm like, I'm not trying to sound egotistical, but I feel like there is a certain level of recognition that I will sometimes get. I don't think I've exactly had that,
No.
And then as that Jeep kind of got like 20 feet past, she was like, yells like in the distance, "Hold on!" Is she like, that Jeep had to spin back around, come into the parking area with us, and get her duck signed by Allison.
That's actually pretty cool.
Isn't that cool?
That's really cool.
That is, and then Allison made sure to give a duck back to them, and it was just this really cool. And then they shared like a really genuine "Oh, how's the show? That's cool. This is great event. We're making people happy." And it was just really authentic. There was just no, "Hey, give me $20 for this product." There was no,
people don't get it, and that's why they just.
She was literally just out there making people happy.
Yep.
Both of those parties left that conversation happy. Nothing gained, nothing lost. I mean, everything gained, nothing lost.
Yep.
Super cool. All right, I'm going to spin through my little tokens of appreciation here because I'm going to go back to BF Goodrich. Now, I talk about this in a video that we shot. I'm super cool about this. I really want to see this come to fruition. A number of people have reached out to me over the years, especially on our integration with technical and media and that kind of stuff, for apps that kind of categorize and locate trails. And BF Goodrich has partnered and developed this app called On Trail, and they speak very well of it. It actually has the app itself is initially free. It's both in the Apple Store and in Google Play, and so it's available both on Android and your app products, obviously. My phone just turned on because it's listening to me. It says, well, how can I help you? They're always listening. So this particular app will allow you to find pre-described badge trails. It has all the Badge of Honor trails, obviously, on it. It has even local trails. And then it has under your profile, you have the ability to map your own trails. So if you're in your local area and the trail system meets a particular appropriate set of criterion, you can drop pins and let it follow you, and you can map your own trail, and then that you can kind of name it or associate it with something. I am really excited about this. It's something we learned about just yesterday afternoon. I haven't had a chance to put it on my phone yet and play with it. But again, if BF Goodrich is touching it, I feel like they're going to bring something good to the table.
I just want to add, one of their features that they list is downloading up to 5 trails at any one time for offline use without cell phone service.
Yeah, I'm so glad you
That's
brought
awesome.
that up. I'm glad you brought that up because it was in the back of my head, and that's part of the free app. If you pay for the app, you can actually download more. And they said, if you're doing that, maybe you're going to go into a remote part. I mean, for us, Allegheny National Forest is not far off, and there's no cell phone signal there. So in theory, planning your trip or route, you could, download those free apps or those maps, and then go explore. That is part of their free service. So look for that happening, pretty soon, and maybe we'll review that on our hashtag not sponsors page. Additionally, the thing about Toledo Jeep Festival, they have a speaker series. I was actually watching it, Scott, and I thought, OMG, you know what they should do? We should go up there and do our podcast on the stage for the speaker series. Wouldn't that be something?
That'd be something.
We could. We don't. There's speaker series. Some speakers, like any event, have a packed house. They have about 50, 80 chairs in the convention center, and they command all these chairs. And then like there was this gentleman. Unfortunately, he didn't have a ton of people in his audience, but I was captivated by what he had to say. And he is the director of the Holly Oaks ORV Park in Holly, Michigan. And, he, again, there wasn't a ton of us in the audience for him, but he had a great explanation about this new park. Reminded me a lot of AOAA, much smaller. I think that's their only quote-unquote downside. But the reality is their proximity to all the big manufacturers, that's where Ford is going for testing. That's where GM is going for testing. Jeep has gone up there for testing. Rivian is there for testing. Jeep actually installed a solar charger in this small park.
That's cool.
Folks, you got to watch for this park. They're brand new. They launched right around COVID. I'm going to tell you, this is where a lot of our industry product testing is going to take place as of right now. They actually had an engineer come in and make out of concrete several obstacles that can be found in Moab, and they made them out of concrete at this park for testing purposes. And it's right in our backyard, reasonably speaking. I mean, 5 hours. So you can go 3 days to Moab, or you can go 4 hours to Holly Oaks ORV Park.
Here's looking at you, Chuck.
Right? I love it. Like I said, I sat there. That guy was so appreciative that I sat through. And honestly, I actually really enjoyed his presentation. It was a good PowerPoint. I thought he had a lot to offer. It's a good park, and I honestly, looking at the finite minutia of the industry, I'm looking at this going, hey, there's some really good stuff happening there. They, I consulted with a friend who lives or spends a lot of time up there. Chuck says he's been to Holly Oaks for a Jeep-sponsored event. Not a bad park. Yeah, and I think it's only going to keep getting better, from what they said. I think a lot of things happened in COVID.
He has the badge for it.
He has the badge. Thank you very much. Yep. Yeah, Chuck. Where's Joe Brill at? Joe, do you have that badge yet?
Right?
Oh my gosh. So, interesting opportunities there. But yeah, I thought, man, we should go up there and we should do our podcast, right? And just let it happen. Let our podcast happen while the convention center is going on. I thought that would be really interesting, really unique. We let Jeff play with the sound system.
I have
and
all
mic
the
it up.
technical difficulties in public.
Come on now. Wow.
Listen. I believe in Jeffrey. All right.
Oh, goodness.
So then this was just to remind me, out of the convention center specifically, they have a nice historical section. Obviously, if you've been to any of the other bigger shows, certainly like Bantam, we have the nice military enactment. We also have the historical museum exhibit. What I thought was really cool specifically in this area, a lot of vehicles were manufactured and then never made it onto the truck and trailer. They never left the area. And so they're kind of a unique piece. Or they were purchased by local businesses to be mules for the business. So in this specific situation, I thought of you, Jeffrey. This was the Toledo Firefighters Museum. And there were, again, when you watch our highlight reel, there was actually an FC 170 fire truck, like a full fire truck, on display. And that was a fire truck that was commissioned by one of the local industrial businesses. And it was built right at the Jeep plant, and then immediately went over to this glass manufacturer, where it only ever lived on the property of the glass manufacturer.
That's
awesome.
really cool.
So it rolls off one line. Somebody outfits it. There's a outfitter who does the pumping and all that. Pump truck and all that stuff. Puts it, and then it goes right into a garage at one of the local glass manufacturers. So there's only 2 left in existence. Have this. They've got like no miles on them, obviously. And one is actually the twin to the one that TJF had on display, is in the Chrysler Museum up in Michigan.
So I remember as a young child out in South County, actually not far from here, there used to be an FC fire truck for one of the departments down there.
Really?
And it was out for sale. We were probably 11, 12 years old.
Oh, this makes me so sad.
Yep.
I mean,
we missed out on a lot of cool stuff.
Makes
like
me
that.
only sad just because, where is that truck now?
Yeah.
I hope that it's somewhere, being well taken care of
Yep.
and whatnot. But you and I have been around the block too many times.
We know what happens.
We know what happens.
Yeah.
We know the guys who buy these quirky things.
Yep.
More often than not, right?
Yeah.
Yes, every once in a while, a
Yep.
historical society, a museum, an appropriate, authentic collector,
Curator.
a curator gets it. But
Yep.
more often, it is that quirky dude or dudette with too much money and not enough friends, and they buy it and they park it in their backfield
Yeah.
because of their one day thing they're going to do with it.
Yeah.
Kills me. Speaking of this character, right? The camera doesn't matter on that one. So Davey and I are heading off. We're driving through Toledo, and I'm heading off to go find a car wash, which I got to tell you is a little harder to do when you're from like the core of downtown, to then go out of town, especially over the years of doing all these shows. Certainly Greg and I used to go try and wash a Jeep or two before an event. It is amazing how far away from events that we have to find a car wash. There's got to be a better solution. That's just me as a business owner trying to think that out. But secondly, we just open up Google and let it tell us where a car wash is. Do you know how often I end up in depressed neighborhoods?
All the time. You attract them.
I'm like in Cincinnati. We're doing Dayton, Cincinnati shows. I'm in, Toledo. And so we find we put in the old boop 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 Google to find a car wash, right? And we take off, and we're driving through a couple interesting neighborhoods, and we pass. As I drive up to this 4-way intersection, I can see about 4 feet. I can see between two two Jeep or two derelict cars parked. I can see through a chain link fence, and I can see the forgotten and broken front end of a Jeep. My Jeep DAR goes off, right? And I'm like, and I can tell there's something unique. And I was like, Davey, I have to know more. Like, we have to come back. I have to know more. Also, I can't help but think, because I haven't even talked about the fact that the wagon left me high and dry on Thursday. I couldn't help but think in that moment, I've got an extra spot on the trailer. I'm in Toledo.
Collecting Jeeps again.
And I've got an open spot on the wedge. I've got a 3 Jeep carrier, 4 if they're smaller Jeeps. I've got a 3 Jeep carrier. One of them could drive on the road itself home. So, I mean, I could load 2 on there. And I'm in Toledo. What gems are hiding, right? So we're driving. We're trying to head to this car wash. We already looked at the reviews. It was awesome. I don't know. It was like supersonic clean, and all that kind of stuff. And as we're passing, I was like, so we leave that chain linked derelict yard, and we're heading to the what Google has us for a car wash, and we pass Great Value Car Wash, and there's litter all over the place, and I was like, pull the Yui. I was like, I'm going to Great Value Car Wash. Get there. Realize I've only have 2 $1 bills. There's nowhere to take a car. There's nothing.
You bring this on yourself.
we meet the best people this way, though.
You do.
We meet the best people. Yikes. So we do the car wash, right? And I kid you not, there was a gentleman next to us, and he could see Davey filming, and obviously we physically, are unusual to the area.
Yeah.
And so he had to come over and talk to us. The only part that a little bit weirded me out was there was like a used mask floating around on the ground. And this guy was super friendly. He was washing like a Dodge Dakota next to us. And he picked up the used mask and he like folded it up nicely and like put it in his shirt pocket.
Oh,
And I was like,
oh no.
other than that, it was a perfectly
I mean, at least he didn't put it on, but
it was perfectly normal exchange.
Danger.
I'm hoping maybe before we got there, it blew out of his truck. Do you think?
No, I don't. But
perfectly normal.
I gotta tell you, I don't care. At that point, it's throwing it in the garbage.
Well, we had to ask him if he had change for a 10 because that was the smallest bill I had in the machine. I didn't want $10 worth of quarters and blah 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 blah. All right, so we leave.
Sanitizer afterwards.
We leave, right? Great Value Car Wash. Fantastic operation that it is. And
you gotta find your
10/10 recommend, right? What's that?
And now you gotta find your chain link fence.
I know exactly where it is. It was like Google has drop pins. I've got a Jeep DAR that drops pins, right? I'm going back. I'm a horse running to the stable. So we pull in community car care. The kind of place it is. It's got 30 broken down Jeeps in the front. Or not Jeeps, cars in general. All different. A lot of them were actually very cool. So, God bless that dude. Chuck says, leave no trace. God bless that dude. If that's what he was doing, there was a lot more trash for him to pick up. So I go up to this car lot. It was actually a garage.
You're like, excuse me, I was creeping on your back lot.
First of all, 100% that was what the case was. Second of all, we walk in. I am respectful enough. I understand the etiquette amongst garages. He had 3 open bays. I made sure to not go into the open bay, right? Despite the fact there was no land barriers or anything like that. Instead, we went into his waiting room, which was actually a very nice waiting room, despite the fact that there was a young man with no shirt on, and he was just like kind of like bouncing around the room. And I was like, Davey and I were like, whatever. And they're like, hey, what are you looking for? And I was like, I'd love to talk to somebody about the Jeep I saw on the side there. The next guy comes out and he was like, hey, I was like, hey, my name's Neil. Are you the owner? And he was like, no, what can I do for you? And I was like, all right, that's fine. I explained it, just try to be real chill about things. They eventually kind of welcomed us into the service bay area themselves. Guy comes out, super cool. And he says, he knows nothing about it. And instead he did a transmission in a Patriot. I think
God
did
bless
an
him.
auto transmission in a Patriot for a friend, and the guy couldn't pay him.
So we got a Jeep.
So he says, hey, how about that old Jeep? Will you give that to me? So he gets his Jeep. He doesn't know anything about it. He thinks it's a 1970. Okay, that's fine. Fair enough. I said, I'd love to look at it. Can we look at it? Can we film? Blah, blah, blah. He says, yeah, sure, that's fine. Not a problem. We go out there. Here's the real kicker on this, right? And I purposely, this is why I'm so attracted to it. And I can't wait for the video to come out about it. It is a DJ5.
Of course.
Okay. But a left-hand drive.
Mm-hmm.
And at the cowl is where the Jeep body stops.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, it is a completely wooden body.
Oh, God.
I'm intrigued.
100% wooden body. Take it one step further. It has complete and absolute pink shag carpeting with pink van seats in it. And here's the worst part.
So where are you hiding it currently?
Here's the worst part.
I haven't seen it at the shop yet. I know you bought
It
this.
looks good. Here's the worst part. It looks good.
Nope.
All right, so the guy hits me with, I dreamed of rebuilding it with my dad, and then he died unexpectedly. And so now I'm going to do it with my son. I'm done.
Jeep's not coming home.
Not coming home. I'm not even going to hit him up. I'm not. Davey's like, why didn't you offer him? I was like, you know what? Because at that moment, I can't offer that guy enough money for what that thing's not worth. Right?
That's good.
Jen
Jen was so relieved, I'm sure.
She doesn't know.
Oh.
I did not talk to her about that.
That's probably appropriate.
Yeah.
Left her at the hotel while you were doing all this?
Of course. Hey, she doesn't care, right? She supports me fully. And she was a phenomenal, partner of SFJ in this process of just keeping Davey and I moving and whatnot. But no, she's not involved. But fortunate that she was with us. We had a lot of fun. No, I did not bring it home. I didn't even throw the guy an offer. He's going to make it run and drive for Toledo Jeep Fest next year.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
Boy, have I said those words.
Oh my God, have we ever? And he, I got to tell you guys, you're going to see video of it. It is so cool. It has suicide doors that open and shut. And again, they're entirely made out of wood that open and shut better than new JLs today. This was a genuine cabinet maker who made this body.
That's
They
awesome.
went so far as to make flip down windshield visors out of cabinet veneer.
Of course I did.
And they look like windshield visors.
That's awesome.
Yeah. It was just a wicked cool, unique vehicle, left-hand drive, 6-cylinder DJ5 Jeep. I want it so badly.
You love DJ5s.
I love DJ5s. I love them. I think they're just the coolest. And as a child, as like a 12-year-old, I remember in a JP magazine article, you could buy a DJ5 because everyone hated them.
Yep.
You could buy a DJ5 for like $300. And then JP magazine ran an article of all like the different configurations or conversions you could do with it, from hot rods to 4-wheel drive. And I just thought that was the coolest thing. And
Yeah. And the price went.
now the price point's insane-o.
Yep.
All right, so I've covered a little bit of what happened in the convention center, a little bit of our shenanigans on the road. The vendor group, I can tell you, there was just some great large-scale vendors there, JKS, Fox, Zone, BDS. I'm happy to say that we are now an authorized BDS vendor. Boom.
Holy crap.
So certainly my big approach to secure that deal is for our CJ customers.
Yeah, now I can be proud of what's on Amy's again.
Now you can be proud of what's on Amy's again.
Holy crap.
Right? I knew you would.
It's felt battered for a while.
So I had a nice conversation with them. Mickey Thompson. Obviously, our friends at Dana Spicer had a phenomenal representation. They are one of the premier sponsors of the Toledo Jeep Festival. They were there. there with Jeep, kind of booth side by side. They had the ultimate bug out vehicle on display, and obviously its driver and creator, Zach, there with it, and he did a nice job representing and helping that, all of the festival move along from his professional standpoint.
Now they had the crate trailer, right? The crate
do have the crate wrap trailer, absolutely.
So they had to love seeing the crate under our.
They did, right?
Yeah.
So so that was obviously intentional because there were other Jeeps there that had ultimate axles under them without question. Not many of the TJ, LJ variety, but I wanted to make sure that we explicitly called attention to the fact that we were in the birthplace, right, of both the Jeep and that axle, and the crate axle, and that we had done it under that Jeep in such a clean manner that looks factory.
Yep.
Right. And that's a testament to our team, our performance mechanic, all the work that we're able to do here out of SFJ 4x4. And I think that the people who know, they got that. And of course it corresponded lovely. And then I didn't even get to talk about Hell Tracks, which is the big, beautiful Gladiator. There are a couple Gladiators. You might have seen them from Dana Spicer and Hell Tracks. Big shout out to them. And they are in development of these deep snow, high displacement tracked Jeeps. And we might look to the future with some interesting builds and opportunities with that.
Can we rent them and try them on mine?
8 lug at the moment, buddy. 8 lug. But you know who's 8 lug?
Of course you are.
Huh.
All right. I say we try it.
So that was in the convention center. There was some really cool, unique vehicles in the convention center. The vendor row was great. The parade was, 1,400 strong Jeeps that Toledo knew how to throw a party. There was actually a proposal on the main intersection on camera, and I love the fact they actually coordinated. Now, there was a little bit too much wheel stacking for me on the parade, slowed the parade down, and unfortunately, there were people, this is my professional opinion, I have no problem saying it, people can always disagree, that's fine, people who were wheel stacking who shouldn't be wheel stacking, and I see that as a safety issue with a huge crowd at a massive parade like that.
I would agree.
So, and that's a professional looking in on enthusiasts, and I understand that enthusiast thinks that they can wheel stack. That's fine. I'm not here to rain on your specific parade. I'm here to authoritatively say, hey, I see certain things happening with your Jeep and your ability to spot and understand the obstacle.
Especially in a rush situation.
Yes. I watched one specific Jeep sit there and ramrod for about 30 seconds as the intensity kind of builds in the crowd. Yeah. And then what happens is, because people want to know what's happening, they start to edge out like we're in school all again, right? And so they edge out into the parade route because now they want to see what's happening, and they start to move into the road in front of this Jeep. And while there is a sufficient amount of space and common sense, we know that common sense is not so common, right? Mm-hmm. And this particular Jeep, representing a brand, these were vendors, could not wheel stack safely, in my opinion. Of course, what do you do as a human being with all these people watching? You don't back down.
No,
that's the problem.
You should, but you don't.
Yeah. So that was an observation. That's not intended to be a criticism, but just, hey, that was something I noticed. There were some people who had really capable rigs. They could jump right up there. Looked really cool. Big testament to TJF themselves. They actually stacked a red. They pulled a white one up. They stacked a red one and a blue one.
Nice.
Cool. Which was super stinking cool. And a big shout out to the Savage, because he got himself right in with the official, the event staff media, the local television crews. I mean, we were right out there getting the best coverage for our audience. And so we should have coverage of all that. While those were up in the air, this proposal happened behind it, which was very heartfelt, right? the problem, everybody got really excited by the proposal back here, and the people who were stacked were like, okay, we need to go. And so like literally one of the passengers had to like come back and do crowd control. She was a tough woman, and she like physically spread her arms out and like backed up the crowd so that they could unstack this trifecta of red, white, and blue. And so I just, there's a time and a place for a wheel stack. I don't know. Maybe I'm a curmudgeon in that situation.
I mean, that's why some other parades have made it a rule not to do it.
It's like ghost driving your Jeep or ghost walking your Jeep.
Yeah.
I get it. I've done it in life. I think it's a lot of fun. Those of you who are listening or watching who don't know what ghost walk is, that's where you throw it into low range, jump out of the Jeep, walk in front of it, walk behind it, do circles around it, whatever you want to do. The challenge is the fact that not everybody is a trained stunt driver or on a closed course. It's just the reality of the situation. But otherwise, the parade was spectacular, and it was neat because there was all shapes and sizes, all different walks and generations of Jeeps represented in the parade. And it went on for just under 3 hours. Crazy,
That being said, I think we need to table the mud terrain versus all terrain for next week.
No, yeah. I knew that wasn't going to happen. I knew that wasn't going to happen. As much as that jazzes me up as well, TJF was just too engaging on many, many fronts to, the highs and the lows of the particular activity. Now, I do want to end on one specific thing, and it really has to do with SFJ 4x4 attending TJF, right? So I hope I was able to outline and touch on a number of things, from the speakers to the vendors out on the midway to the convention center, maybe even a little bit of hotel accommodations and valeting and all that kind of stuff. It was a lot of fun. They knew how to throw a good time. Concerts, baseball games, blow up obstacle courses, splash pads for the kids. Totally could reach your Jeep family from start to finish. But SFJ 4x4 has to have our own flair to things, obviously, right? And we try to bring our party to the Jeep show, and that's why we wanted to bring the wagon. Big shout out to the guys here for trying to ready the wagon. Scott spent better part of Wednesday, kind of cleaning it up and trying to make it look nice and ready it for the event. Thursday morning, went to load on trailer. We backed it out. It died sitting crossways of our main bay entrance. Very challenging. Jeff worked his butt off on Thursday trying to make it run with kind of all of our standard, anything we could throw at it within that few hours. And we finally just had to cut our losses, load the trailer, and hit the road for load in. It would have been the belle of the ball, without question. There were some beautiful wagons in town running about, but nothing like what we have our hands into, full fuel injection and, the leather and the beautiful shine and all that kind of stuff. The functionality and the marriage of form and function that is in that Jeep. So it was a real good push to that. But we, despite those hardships, and of course we documented that in our video coming out soon, we also had a lot of fun as individuals, and I think people can see that. Just some of our shenanigans. Oftentimes people come in and say, I just like listening to you guys banter, talk, communicate, Davey, the Savage Thompson, our cameraman, may or may not have drag raced two semi-elderly individuals on scooters in Walmart on Friday night.
Oh, Dave.
I want video proof.
And my wife may or may not have 100% coordinated that.
Of course she did.
And
did they get escorted out at the end?
We managed not to get escorted out.
I'm impressed.
We have a track record of not getting escorted out.
It's what I do.
Yeah.
But we, without question, have video. We actually happen to be in the toilet paper towel aisle. So we opened up a paper towel roll and used it as a finish line.
That is awesome. Scott's over there shaking his head, but I'm loving every second of this.
We had the best experience trying to get people to drag race us on the Walmart scooters in their Walmart scooters. And this gentleman, this was a husband and wife team. We didn't know that, right? Because we actually, the gentleman was in a neck brace. He was almost 80 years old. And
you had an 80-year-old in a neck brace drag racing against Davey. I hope that Davey let that guy win.
Davey got smoked by the wife, honestly.
Oh, that's great.
He's shaking his head.
He would like to think...
Is that loser's remorse over there?
So we really made the best of the experience. We tried to have fun with it. We're out here building really cool vehicles. I think we do an above average job of bringing the meat and potatoes of quality craftsmanship to Jeeps, but we want to have fun while we do it, and kind of showcase the whole kind of silly experience of the process that is the Jeep life. So really, I think I touched on just about everything I wanted to touch on, minus the fact that a continued shout out to these legends of the industry who were represented at Toledo Jeep Festival. And I can't say enough good things, and thank Jerry for helping us and allowing us to be part of this experience. I just have a continued further and deeper appreciation for what these guys have brought to the table. Met a couple new friends. I totally spent entirely too much time of a guy named Bruce's, time and energy. He and his wife, remarkable individuals, people who absolutely are pioneers of what the Jeep industry is now. I probably don't get enough credit by today's standards. So
Totally.
Big shout out to all of those people involved and TJF. We're looking forward to next year. Jeffrey, do you want to hashtag not sponsored, and we'll wrap up some Paracord? Ha ha ha.
You and your puns.
And now it's time for our product spotlight.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Spotlight.
Hashtag not sponsored.
Oh. I was trying to match your tone.
Yeah.
That didn't work.
Jeffrey.
I love the name. Board? Paracord.
Yeah.
That must be why I haven't done it. It's a very seldom bored.
Seldom do I find myself bored.
Yeah.
Jeffrey, this was a suggestion you had brought to the table for hashtag not sponsored, Paracord in general. Was there anything specific that you wanted to add to the conversation? Obviously, this lovely piece that I already mentioned is actually really well done.
So Paracord, what's really cool about it is that you can actually melt the ends so that it's not fraying. You can literally melt ends together to make a longer piece, which is how that grab handle is made. There's green and black fused together, so it's one long piece.
Okay.
So that's really cool. You can use it for survival purposes. There's a long list of things. You can make self-defense weapons and tools with it. If you're camping, you can actually take the inner strands out and make tripwire around your campsite with cans or whatever to make noise to wake you up if somebody were to intrude on your campsite.
Or a raccoon. Maybe
Or
just
a raccoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I'm reading some of this great information.
Italian Stallion's ready to straight up, Stallone on somebody,
right?
I'm
reading some of the stuff that Jeff's provided for us. It said, in fact, the astronauts used it to repair the Hubble Space Telescope.
Wow,
did not know that.
That's a great fun fact.
How did I not know that?
Chuck says Chuck knows how to party. Yeah, right. I mean, I've been camping before, and I don't think I've ever feared for my life. I found myself in a lot of precarious situations, but I don't know that I need a tripwire. I don't know that I need a tripwire.
You're just gonna throw down with the raccoon. You're gonna show it who's boss.
That's right. That raccoon, that little bear.
So the U.S.
Stupid
military
squirrel.
defines 6 different types of paracord. Who knew there was different types of paracord?
This specific one is Type 3, which is 550, so it's rated for 550 pounds.
Oh, yeah. That makes sense. You know what? I used to, in a different life, I was actually a climber, a recreational climber, and we used to talk about the different weight ratings of this because in theory, it's
a rescue rope.
It's a rescue rope. I could in theory, tie a sufficient knot on a fixed, I don't know, something. Anchor. Thank you. I wanted to use the word pasturance. And the reality is a pasturance is a family word.
He makes this stuff up, people.
Scott
That is
can't
a
even say that word.
100%
Right?
made
I'm not
up
gonna
word.
try
That is
to
a
make it-
made up word.
No.
And I was a young professional speaking before a crowd, and I used the word pasturance, and I could see it like wash across a couple people's face. Now, I grew up 20 plus years using that word, not thinking anything of it, because we have an elaborate vocabulary in my family. And so I'm using pasturance, thinking that it is an actual word, and eventually somebody comes up to me and goes, hey, that's not a word. And I was like, but it is. It
Throw
means
down.
a thing that juts out. And he's like, no, like juggled it because it's not Jeff, but it was that guy, right? We all know that guy. He's like, beep. Nope,
I
not a
will
thing. How do you
show
think you spell
you're
that?
wrong.
Yeah, he was like, I will show you wrong. And pasturance is not actually a word, but it's ingrained in my nugget. And so, like, it's a pasturance. You take your paracord, you wrap it off, you tie a knot, and it's on a pasturance. So, anyways, I could hang off of this.
It was made after World
That's
War
my
II.
point. That was the point.
I
was
did
trying
not
to
know it was around that
Well,
long.
you know what? Paracord and fluid film.
So
Right? Who
paracord,
knew?
Scott, paracord is short for parachute cord.
Oh.
It's literally parachute cord.
Who would have known? Everybody but Scott, obviously. Scott's busy building early Fords and Jeeps. And
Scott's in his corner
not thinking about
with the
paracord.
distributor machine,
Right?
setting dwell and points, which
Right.
is 100% lost. There was only like 2 people watching this episode right now who know what dwell and points are.
And one
at
of
that
them's
point.
probably my wife.
Hold on a second. I just want to point something out. That paracord probably would work better than his tree saver.
Dang.
Oh,
I did not hear the bus.
the honk honk.
The bus is coming for me. We should test it.
We should test it.
Absolutely.
Jeff, start weaving. I'll give you how long my strap is.
Oh, it's 23 inches. It's fine. Jeff will be done by lunch. Your tree saver and his paracord weaving. It will be perfectly okay. Oh my gosh. So parachute cord, paracord, folks, you can do so many different things. Like Jeffrey said, I actually have had this as a survival piece. I actually have a knife. It's wrapped in the handle, makes for a nice little grab handle for everyday usage. And then when you're at the campsite, you can make your clothesline out of it, hang your dishes, so on and so forth.
Why didn't you repair the willies with this when it broke?
What about what part of the willies?
How many times has it broken? All the times.
Blah, blah.
Why did you be Mr. Survivalist? Like, I will take my paracord and make a leaf spring.
And
Don't tempt him. He might
duct
try
tape
that.
and paracord.
We had so many opportunities. It
we
makes me
had
sad
opportunities.
now.
They're missed opportunities.
Right?
I now know that.
So a
I
lot of
now
people
know
too
that.
also wrap their steering wheel with it. I'm not a fan of that.
I'm not a
but-
fan, but I've seen it. They've done their shifters. There is
Well,
definitely...
and there's a way to quick wrap it so that if you actually needed it as a rescue rope, you just pull one string and the whole thing unravels, and you have a full rescue rope ready to go.
I have seen that. That's, I think, what's on my knife.
Yeah.
And I managed to
Just in
unwrap
case you
it
need
and
to trip.
rewrap it once. Yeah, and just in case
Sasquatch.
you need to trip somebody from your survival campsite.
So another fun fact is the inner strings of that can actually be used as a sewing string. So you can actually pull out the thin strings from inside and do quick repairs to a backpack, if you tear your jeans, whatever.
Interesting.
Never happens.
Interesting. I dig it. Jeffrey, great option. So you're a 10-10 recommend on this.
Yes.
Scott's a 0-10 because
He doesn't know
I'm
that
not
that's parachute
bored.
cord.
I love it. I love it. All right, folks. I hope that you tune in with us next week live on 10:19 a.m. on Facebook. You can interact. Hey, Lee, thanks for joining us. And then 60 miles per hour steering wheel suddenly unravels.
I love it.
I'd be okay. We'll be fine. It's
Yeah.
just,
On 2 wheels, back on the pavement, keep trucking.
it'll be
Don't
good.
even let out.
It'll be good. It'll be good. You can join us 10:19 a.m. Facebook Live. We'll talk to you and engage with you. We've got a lot of good episodes coming up, from comm systems to how you should be insuring your rig, to mud terrain versus all terrain tires. We're gonna have
we might
Duck
even
Duck
have
Jeep
a
Go.
product coming up that is really fresh to the things that for one of our vintage builds.
Boop, boop, boop. Big vintage build stuff going on. So a lot of cool stuff. Make sure you head over to I Speak Jeep on YouTube. That is our new YouTube channel just for library and cataloging. This here awesome podcast for you. A lot of people are very excited about it. Make sure you head over to your favorite streaming or download site, grab this podcast, throw it in the car with you when you go trail riding. And obviously, we hope that you enjoy it. Reach out to us, comment, make sure you like and subscribe on both of our YouTube channels. And
don't forget this.
Don't forget the stickers and the shirts. You
and
can
I want to
support
see
this
where
program.
you put it.
Absolutely. We made sure to hand that out, a token of appreciation over the weekend to Jerry for having us out. Maybe we can, like I said, I'm working to get on the main stage, do our podcast there.
I think that'd be great.
Just kind of carry on and let people.
I'll have to grumble a lot.
Well,
keep my old man nature.
It just is the nature of it. That was the number one thing. It was most people like, oh, hey, Neil, where are the other guys? Where's Gray? Where's LSX? Where's Scott?
They're grumpy.
That's what I said. Hey, they're grumpy. You don't really want them to people, do you? Oh, my goodness. Until then, Jeep family, Jeep on.
Jeep on.